Info 99.3. And we'd like to get your thoughts on our conversation today. But before we get into the conversation for today, let me quickly say that for teachers, school owners, students, guardians, the students should be in school by now, so they won't be listening to radio. But this is just to let you know that the I beg to differ secondary schools debate audition is still pretty much on. Just so that you know, what we have ended is the online entry portal. That is what has ended. So the students can't enroll virtually anymore. Not really, but then they can't submit their audition virtually anymore, but they can still enroll. In that they can go to our website, nigeriainfo.fm, to go and enroll. So when they get to the website, www.nigeriainfo.fm, they will see the I beg to differ audition banner on the homepage. They will click on it, and then it will take them to the page of the I beg to differ audition registration portal. They will follow the guidelines there. They will pick their topic and then indicate their interest, submit their form. Then on January 25, which happens to be a Saturday, they will be here in our office for the live auditions. So you've got 3 topics there on the portal. You pick one, you prepare your argument for and against that topic that you have picked. 90 seconds argument, 90 seconds, that's all you've got. Just prepare for both sides. And then when you come here, you would be called and be asked to either present for or against. You will not be asked to do both. So you'll be told to do either of the sides that you have picked. So best of luck to you. Go there right now, register, and be a part of history. All right. The Nationals is up in August 2025. For those who like to sponsor the I beg to differ debate tournament, please feel free to reach out to us on info@nigeriainfo.fm. That is info@nigeriainfo.fm. That is how you can reach out to us. And let's have a conversation, really. Let's have a conversation. There is room for all levels of sponsorship, right? Okay. Thank you. I'm Sheriff Quadry. Nice to meet you, Lagos. Let's begin the show this morning. We want to talk about something that broke yesterday. After 15 months of war, Israel and Hamas agreed to a deal for a ceasefire yesterday, Wednesday. This deal includes the release of hostages being held by Hamas following separate meetings with Qatar's prime minister. There's been intense pressure to put an end to the killings by mediating countries. We're talking about Qatar, Egypt, and the U.S. I mean, they've been putting pressure on Israel and Hamas, most especially for months now, to have an end to it. But then, there's interest, there's political interest, there's regional interest, there's global interest in what is going on in that part of the world. Hamas sparked a war in Gaza by staging the deadliest ever attack on Israel, which happened to be the way the Israeli Prime Minister saw it was a slight on Israel. That happened on October 7th, 2023. This resulted in the death of over 1,100 people. We have figures at 1,210. Mostly civilians, which includes about it was grave. It was just according to Israelis, it's something that has never happened to them before. Hamas also took 251 people hostage during the attack. We hear 94 of those people are still being held in Gaza. We don't know exactly where. Even Israel has no idea where these people are being held. Some were killed in that attack. Now, following that attack, Israel has launched a genocidal campaign in Gaza, and that has killed about 46,700 people, most of them civilians. In fact, we're hearing that out of this number, about 18,000 children were killed. This death toll means that 1 out of every 50 people has been killed in Gaza. This is unbelievable, really, unbelievable. Well, Ireti Bakare, a broadcaster and the host of Borderline show here on Nigeria Info, joins me virtually this morning. Ireti, good morning to you.
Good morning, Sheriff. How are you?
Doing okay, very well. Tell me, Ireti, how monumental is this development, this ceasefire deal development? How monumental is it?
Well, it is monumental in the sense that there's been at least 5, perhaps 6 attempts at a ceasefire since the first one in December 2023. Which actually did happen, which was where Israel exchanged hostages for Palestinian hostages. So there was a hostage exchange and things were going well. That lasted, I think, for like 7 days, and then it all fell apart. So yes, what we have right now is very, very monumental. It's important, it's critical, it's something that we should be happy about and celebrate, especially and most importantly, because at the heart of all of this are Palestinian Gazans, especially, who didn't know whether they were going to survive from one second to the other. So for them, this pause in the killings is of paramount. It's like giving them a whole new breath. So yes, it is critical. It is monumental. And it's important.
Indeed. I mean, when you mentioned, when you just said the pause, that struck a chord, because even yesterday, after the announcement of this ceasefire deal, about 40 people were killed in Gaza. And I'm thinking, I don't know if you are thinking the same way, that because we've also heard that the Israeli cabinet is yet to vote on this deal. They are yet to vote. After the pronouncement of the ceasefire deal, there was another massacre of 40 people. Do you think that the cabinet will eventually vote in favor of this deal? Or are you thinking there could be an attempt to sabotage the deal entirely?
I think before we even get to that is the fact that the ceasefire doesn't begin till Sunday. And we know Israel. Israel has form. They've always behaved the same way. Israel will use the next 3 days to kill as many Palestinians in Gaza as possible. In actual fact, the day before yesterday, within 24 hours, Israel had killed 100 lives had been killed within 24 hours. Okay, so we know that they will continue to kill as much as they can, because according to Netanyahu, he's fighting Hamas. And as most people who actually deliberately choose to, they conflate the Palestinians, the Gazans, with Hamas. Right? So this is it. So Israel will continue to do its very best to kill as many as possible.
Do we know the terms of... Okay, go on, please, go on.
Yeah, so to answer your question about the ceasefire and whether the Knesset will vote for it, yes, there's been noise from the likes of Smotrich and his, far right that they're not going to, but they eventually will. They will, because this is a quid pro quo, and that's how Trump works. This is a quid pro quo. There would have been some sort of exchange, and it is widely reported that President Trump, albeit gave it was very hard on Netanyahu. In fact, it is said that his envoy went to see Netanyahu and said, "Get this deal signed before my inauguration. You have no choice." But of course, in exchange for that, it is widely reported that more annexing of the occupied West Bank, Palestinian land, has been promised to Israel. So that will make the right wing, the far right wing of the Knesset very, very happy. We mustn't forget that. In addition to that, it's also been widely reported that Trump has said, look, you can continue after this, but make sure you get a ceasefire before I get into office. Now, those are reports, We don't know how far they are true, but I know that I am certainly not taking anything for granted when it comes to the USA or Israel for that matter.
Yes, indeed. Let me quickly chip this in when you made mention of about the issue of quid pro quo, and you're perfectly right. That is how Americans do their thing. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. Give me something, I give you something. A deal is a deal, and that is it. But I'm thinking about the political implications of the ceasefire deal for the Israeli government. What could that be? Locally, domestically for Netanyahu?
Excellent question. So domestically, again, let's step back a little bit. Prior to October 7th, the Israeli people had been wanting Netanyahu out. They had been campaigning for him to go. He had a huge court case which was upcoming. Now, one of the things that we do know is that he's continued to stretch this genocide, and I won't call it a war because a war presumes that both sides are equals. No, this is not equal. We must always remember that. This is an occupier fighting the occupied. Killing the occupied. So we can't call it a war. Of course, rightly, it is a genocide. You can call it a conflict, but we can't call it a war. So prior to October 7th, the Hamas incursion into Israel, Netanyahu's career was already literally almost dead. The court case, by and large, he was going to be losing it. And there were big chance that it was going to be found guilty, and whatever was going to be the sentencing would have happened.
Right.
Now that now that we have the genocide and now we have the ceasefire, what does it mean? Well, the other thing we know and we must remember about the Knesset and Israel and its political landscape is that they all hate each other. They are far right and middle right, but most of them don't like each other. I mean, Smotrich is on record to have called Netanyahu, although he said it in Hebrew, to have called Netanyahu liar, son of a liar, right? So these people don't like each other. They want each other. They want to destroy each other. So what does this mean for Netanyahu? It means that even more so, his political career is in trouble. His coalition is in trouble. What does it mean for the Israeli society? The Israeli society have been wanting their families back, the hostages back, and rightly so. Okay?
Yeah.
They've been wanting their families back, but they've also blamed Netanyahu for actually prolonging the hostages being held in captives. Okay?
Right.
They've believed rightly that Netanyahu hasn't focused, that he didn't really care about getting the hostages released. He cared more about prolonging the conflict, the genocide. So this is where we are. So politically, the Knesset is going to be in a mess, but they will vote for it, without a doubt. They will vote for it because they're no longer dealing with a weak and feeble Biden. They are dealing with a petulant, unpredictable, random, statesman, President Trump, right? So the way things are is going to be very different, where Biden didn't have the strength, didn't have the guts, didn't do anything, continued to gaslight. Let's remember, this particular deal that was signed yesterday has been on the table since May 2024. That's what, 8-9 months ago? So if Biden, the exact same deal, if Hamas had agreed to the deal, give or take 1 or 2 details, it was Israel that kept saying no. Netanyahu kept saying no. And we have political analysts from Israel who have confirmed this, right? That Biden continued to gaslight the world by constantly blaming Hamas, when in actual fact, it was Israel that refused to sign the deal. And then we moved into June, July, and again, Israel refused to sign. You must remember, Anthony Blinken was going up and down, trying to get this thing signed. But literally, the weakest link, right, the risk to the success of the deal was Netanyahu and a very, very, very weak and inconsequential President Biden. Okay, now Trump then comes in, literally puts on his boots, gives them a kick. I mean, it is said that Trump's envoy went to see Netanyahu, used very strong words. The quote is salty words to say to him, sign this. You have to sign this. And that's how we got here. Just imagine. And this is not to say Trump is about peace or that he's a great politician or that he's a great negotiator. What we do know is that Trump will do what benefits Trump, right? And the other thing we know is that there is a competition between President Biden and President-elect Trump. That very sort of toxic competition that exists between them is what has got us to today. It's what has now led to this ceasefire. So Israel, we have to just continue to watch, but I don't see them not signing. Okay. I do see Trump giving them more, removing sanctions, for instance, and all of that stuff. I see Trump giving them a lot more than they had before. However, we have a President Trump who in 2020 actually called Benjamin Netanyahu traitor, because Netanyahu came out, was one of the first people to come out to congratulate Biden for his election victory, which Trump still calls a fraud, right? And as a result of that, Trump, who we know is very vengeful, who also now has nothing to lose. You and I both know that the most dangerous president is one who doesn't need to run for another term, right? They will do whatever they want to do. So Trump could still surprise us by surprising Netanyahu and perhaps even weakening him even more to make him lose any minute or tiny little political power that he still has left. So we just have to keep an eye out and stay cynical whilst being happy for the ceasefire.
Unfortunately, the network perhaps knew that you were about to land on your speech. Then he held on to a couple of your last words there. Could you were saying that we should stay cynical? That's the part that we heard.
Yes, we should. We should stay. And by that, what I mean is we should continue to mistrust, right? Can you hear me? We should continue. Yes. We should stay in a place of mistrust until they prove us wrong, because so it's only the first phase of the ceasefire that has been agreed, right? That in the 16th day of the first phase, then they will begin to negotiate the second phase. Now, given that the reports coming from Israeli press is that Trump has pretty much said to Netanyahu that he can continue the killings if he wishes to, we have to stay in that place of mistrust, because we don't know whether it's true or false. It could be true, it could be false, but we do know that only this first phase has been agreed. The second phase is still hanging on a thread till they begin negotiation. And Israel is known for constantly breaking the deal, breaking the negotiation, breaking the agreement. So we have to stay watching.
Right. Eriti, we're going to pause here to take a quick break. But when we return, I want to talk to you about whether we have information regarding the details of this ceasefire deal as it relates to blockades, as it relates to supplies, humanitarian issues, and all of that. We'll come back to it later. Stay here on the Daily Digest with Jimi Disu. I'm Sheriff Quadry. We'll be right back in a moment.
You are listening to your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
See how I'm using corner eye to look at you as you keep pressing *321# on your phone. Is it not credit that you want to borrow from Glow?
Yes, now. What happened? Has the code changed?
Where have you been, girl? *303# is the new code to borrow credit and data on Glow.
So the code is no longer *321#, but *303#?
Confirmento. Voila! It worked, oh! Before Uncle, *303#, not before show. But, guy, I hope so the data where you borrow go reach me and you.
Dial *303# to borrow credit and data on Glow and pay later. *303#, new code, same great ease.
Glow Unlimited.
Find amazing treats for everyone this holiday with Showmax. Celebrate like a champion with soccer.
Very well taken.
Find your festive inspo with our masters of style.
That's what I'm here for.
Embark on a fun-filled global adventure.
Here we go.
Share your love moments with family and friends.
My son, the most handsome.
And enjoy some truly royal spoils.
I want the power to control what happens in my life.
Only on Showmax, because everyone deserves a holiday treat.
Into the light, feel the crowd screaming, see as you bright, there's no comparing. They can't deny you still the show, cause you are in control, you're unique on your own.
Each day is a unique opportunity to improve yourself and meet someone new. Make the most of your day. Stay fresh all day with Unique Soap. Unique Prickly Heat Antibacterial Soap is made with a cooling formula that kills germs and is infused with natural ingredients.
Unique
Soap. Be unique. Be you.
Success is like a big mansion. You only see the magnificent edifice, not the strong foundation that holds it. Likewise, in the world of e-payments, you only see transactions done and funds remitted. But who pioneered these financial technology solutions? Well, you knew it as Value Card, now Unified Payments, Nigeria's premier financial technology service provider. Yes, it starts here. Find out more at www.up-ng.com.
Unified Payments. Innovations that work for you.
Oh, no be today.
Prostako, what's into your motor?
This motor just dey fall my hand every day. And my mechanic don't even collect my money finish.
Now, wow. This one don't make sense at all. Say you never hear about Jamin's motor.
Germany care.
No be Germany. Na Jamin Auto Care Limited. They be old bonge Toyota dealers. You dey reason to buy brand new car. Or you want sell the old one. You want swap your motor. Or you want repair your motor. Or you even want make they help you to your motor. I been na original Toyota spare part now you want buy. And if you want spray or even do baking,
Jamin Auto Center, they did for you. They don't do this game for over 25 years old. Them still get Jamin Healthcare.
Now for there you buy this your terrible motor from?
Yes, now.
So where them they are beg?
Their office sit down for 4th roundabout
along Lekki Expressway, or make you call them for their sales line will be 0704 553 3432 and their service line now 0704 553 3433. Their email now service@jamin.com.ng or visit their website for www.jamin.ng. It never finish you. Their Abuja branch, it don't lang gidigba for Katampe.
Anything I want.
Mama, they don't dash me 20,000 naira. Woof!
My pikin, who they dash 20,000 naira for this kind time?
That they dash everybody will get smart cash account 20,000 naira.
You mean them go dash me 20,000 naira a woof too?
Yes, so mama. That they dash all old and new smart cash users 20,000 naira a woof.
Oh yeah, tell your yard people make them dial *939# or download Smart Cash app to open their own account. Make them self-enjoy 20k a woof. Every time when you buy airtime or pay bills with Smart Cash, you go chop inside your 20k. Terms and conditions they shall.
I don't see my own a woof. Oh.
Smart Cash, powered by Airtel.
You define better odd. I be you one play Coruscos. Over 1.5, I be you one bet. Say, both seem no go score at all. Yeah, we get better payout. No worry, we there for you. Our odd, Chaburata. In a day for best baba. You feel we money, best baba. Cash out today easy, or best baba. We get online games for you. To play, I got all I want. Yeah. We get better bonus. I give me no.
Register now on betsbaba.ng. Not for people under 18.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk. Let's talk. Let's talk.
You're listening to Jimi Disu right here on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info Lagos. You're welcome back to Daily Digest with Jimi Disu. I'm Sheriff Quadry, and today we are taking a look at the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas, brokered by some World Committee. Before we go into the content of the deal itself, by the way, I have Reti Bakari with me, broadcast journalist and the host of the Borderline Show here on Nigeria Info. The Borderline Show comes up every Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. live from our studio. And what we do there is to shed light, bring perspectives to global issues. If you've been missing out on that, please tune in every Friday. We're back tomorrow on Borderlines from 4 to 6. You need to stay tuned for that one. Ireti, thank you again for taking time out to join me on the show this morning.
My pleasure.
Let's quickly, before we go into the details of that deal, in the first part of the show, we kept mentioning America, Biden, Trump. What are the other countries that actually play very critical role in the bringing this deal to life?
Good question. So you've got Egypt. And then you've got Qatar. The Qataris, I think, they've done very, very well. The Prime Minister of Qatar has been relentless, and he stayed on topic to ensure that this deal goes through. They've constantly said, we will continue to work to ensure ceasefire and support the Gazans. So the Qataris, the Egyptians, although, where the Egyptians are concerned, 6 of this and half a dozen of the other, because on one hand, they've got this Rafah border, which is near them, and they haven't appeared to be doing much to help the Palestinians. That really goes for a lot of the Middle Eastern countries, but at least they've been part of the negotiations. And as you know, the Hamas Politburo, so they're big people, or the senior Hamas people, they live in Qatar. So, and America will not directly, or neither will Israel directly talk or negotiate with Hamas. So they have to go through this kind of, intermediaries. So yes, those are the 2 countries that have actually been responsible. So you have Qatar, you have Egypt, and then, of course, you have Israel and you have the U.S.
Indeed. Do we know the details of this deal yet? I've tried to look for it, trust me, but I couldn't find it anyway.
Yes, because for some reason they haven't released it. But here's what we also know. We have to always look back on history, because Israel does have a habit of behaving to type, right? So if you go back to a couple of decades ago, there was in a fight between Israel and not Hamas, Palestinians. I can't remember which one of the political groups. There was a young soldier called Shalit who was held hostage, and because Israel wanted the body of Shalit, or they wanted that soldier back, they actually exchanged one soldier for 1,000 Palestinian hostages. Now, we call them Palestinian hostages because it is critical, it is important for us journalists to actually report things as they are, not as others wish them to be. In Israel's captivity are 7,000 Palestinians, most of whom are held without charge. A good number of them are children and women, and they stay in, Israel holds on to them in what they call administrative administrative detention, which basically means they're held there without charge. They stay there for as long as Israel wants, and it keeps getting renewed I think it's like every 2 months or something, or every quarter, right? So, but Israel, to let you know how Israel values the life of a Palestinian, or devalues the life of a Palestinian, they exchange one soldier for 1,000 Palestinian hostages. So much, even though we don't know the details of this deal, it is likely that it could be 30 or 50 for one. Exactly. It's when you think about it, it is actually crazy. For those who argue that Israel isn't an apartheid country, that Israel doesn't practice dehumanization, just look at that. One soldier for 1,000 Palestinian hostages.
It's incredible.
So we are waiting, and it's curious that the details of what is supposed to kick off on Sunday has not been released.
Yeah.
But we can expect that. And also the other thing is, apparently, Hamas is asking for the body of Yahya Sinwar to be returned. Israel is asking, the first that will be released is young people and women, and possibly the elderly. Now, it is important, another point that I'd like to raise is that there's a grandfather who I believe is apparently the world's oldest hostage, an Israeli grandfather who has been held hostage since 7/10 by Hamas. So hopefully he too will be released.
All right. Okay.
So Israel is asking for those people. So it's the hostages that are alive first, in exchange for Palestinians that are alive. Hamas is also asking for Yahya Sinwar's body, and even more so, and this one is critical to the future of the Palestinians, to the future of Palestine. They are asking for Marwan Barghouti, who has been held in Israeli hostage for some 20, 30 years, whom is widely seen as the unifier amongst all Palestinians. He is seen as a de facto, if you like, good leader, the one that will help them get beyond these horrible crossroads that they are. So we wait and see.
All right. Before I go to the telephone lines, Lagos, by the way, you can call in and let us know what you think about this ceasefire deal and the role of different actors in making sure that this deal comes to life. Feel free. We'll take the calls in a moment. But Ireti, talking about the possible content of this deal, which is, in my mind, should be or should include a journey towards independent Palestinian state. If that should be in the deal, do you see Israel, accepting this deal? If that is not in the deal, however, do you see that this is the journey, a beginning of statehood for the Palestinian people?
It is not. It is not in the deal. I don't expect it to be in the deal because that's a bigger, it's not something that can just be signed, right? Everybody's still talking about the two-state solution. But you also have to ask yourself, what two-state solution? Really? Israel has moved in to areas that even the ICJ have said this is illegal. So Israel continues to occupy more land. There are over 700,000 settlements now. What is to happen to them? So what does a two-state solution look like? If Donald Trump, who incidentally, I mean, again, we mustn't forget this, who actually pretty much, he moved the American embassy to Jerusalem,
right?
Something that America has avoided all these decades, moved it to Jerusalem, thereby affirming Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Jerusalem, even in 1948, was always supposed to be the neutral place, meaning nobody owned it. In the original plan, Jerusalem was supposed to be administered by the UN, not Israel, not Palestine. So now Trump moved it in Trump 1.0, as I call it. Trump moved and by moving the American embassy to Jerusalem, he basically gave it to them to Israel as the capital. Okay, so what two-state solution are we talking about? It's far more complicated now, a great deal more complicated than it ever was before. Now, if it's true that he continues to give them more land in the West Bank, then is a two-state solution, meaning the Palestinians stay in Gaza and 90% of the West Bank is given to Israel? I don't know, but it's far more complicated than that. So I'm not holding my breath. I don't expect it to be.
Right.
I don't expect America under Trump to actually work towards that, because Trump is a very momentary person. He doesn't care about what happens when he leaves.
Indeed.
Lagos. He's not doing this for the Palestinians.
Right.
He's doing this because he's going to be the president-elect, and he wants to show the world that he can do much better than Biden. He wants to show the world that he's so-called, a no-war kind of president.
Let me quickly head to the telephone lines, because I was going to have a part two to that conversation, about Netanyahu's position right from the beginning, that he wanted to eliminate Hamas from from Gaza and Palestine, and the response of Blinken to him just some few days ago about that particular statement. But let me quickly go to the telephone lines and take some thoughts in. We have Lagos that is listening to us right now. Lagos, if you'd like to call, please call in 0201-277-0993. For the male callers. Female callers can call 0201-465-7190. And we've got a WhatsApp number if you've got a message to sending. The WhatsApp number is 0809-597-5805. I don't have much time because I still have loads and tons of questions to get through this morning. So please, you've got 60 seconds to share your thought with me. 60. And please hit the nail on the head to manage the time with us. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Sherry.
Good morning. Are you there?
You have Manu on the line.
Manu, go. Let's hear you.
I don't believe in the ceasefire. The reason is there is no equity justice in the ceasefire, because you won't give the Palestinians the equal rights, as the Israelis. They won't have their free, a state, so to say. They won't have a navy. They won't have the air force. They won't have the army. And then I believe it's just a sham, and it's just the braggadocious character of Trump, that is what is putting this in place. And very soon, I believe there will still be a form of invasion or punishment on the Palestinians. Good morning.
Morning to you too, Mano. Thanks for calling. Good morning to you.
Yeah, morning, Nonyamaduko.
Morning to you.
I think it's high time Benjamin Netanyahu should listen. Enough of this killing. Even if it's a Biden that will sign it and bring peace before he leave office, let him embrace peace now. He has tried. He has killed enough. On Sunday, they will stop. They will sign the whatever. As of yesterday, you are still killing. Who will talk to him again that he listen? Please, the Israeli president and the prime minister, they call him. Please, enough of this killing. Thank you.
Thank you too for calling. Let's take this one. Morning to you. Oh, that call is done. Let's take this one right here. Good morning to you.
Hello, Sheriff. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I didn't know you take my call. You have to tell the boy. I do think it's back I used to. My question is, it's one. You can never get justice anywhere. There's nowhere you have equality or equity. Go to South Africa. Did you have that in South Africa? So that one is off table. The way forward for me, since the whole world has been so hypocritical about the two-state solution, can we work with the Abraham Accords launched by Donald Trump? And I don't agree with what the lady said, that Donald Trump, yes, is momentary, is transactionally, whatever. But all this why? What has diplomacy done? I kept asking that question. Diplomacy has failed. Britain, Germany, France, all of them, they have been hypocritical. So the truth is that let whatever is going to be the remains now, let it be. Let them get the $50 billion, $46 billion, rebuild Palestine and move on. That is because there's no how you're going to compare the caliber of weaponry and support in terms of whatever now on the side of Israel with the Palestinians.
Thank you so much. Thank you for calling me. Appreciate your time. Let's take this one before I go back to Riti. Good morning to you.
Hi, Mr. Sheriff.
Good morning.
Good
morning to you. Yes, please.
So my question really is, I don't know why we have to lose cause of people before brokering this ceasefire deal, honestly. Now, my question to Madam Riti is, whether the first or second phase, does she really think that this deal will be binding on both parties? And for how long? You know, will one side not renege on this decision at the end of the day? Whether first or second phase? Thank you very much.
Thank you too for calling. Appreciate your time. Riti, let's jump on the last caller's question. Do you think this deal will be binding equally on all parties involved?
Well, it should. That's a very good question from, I think that was Mrs. Oboli. It's a very good question. It should. But, you know, some animals are born more equal than the other. There it is.
Indeed. I'm going to quickly jump into the next phase of the conversation, I believe, which is, you know, what likely impact would this deal have on peace in the Middle East? You know that this particular situation in Gaza, in Palestine, has degenerated, has gone into so many areas. Apologies for that. Please do not call this Skype for now. It's the same system we're using for call. Yeah, please do not call Skype. We can't take Skype calls for now, right? Please bear with us. So I was going to ask the effects of this deal on stability in the Middle East, because, like I said, this has spread to, you know, neighboring countries and territories as well. What likely impact would this have? Iriti, can you hear me?
Well, look, on one hand, Israel would actually Netanyahu. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Please go on.
Can you hear me? We do have, on one hand, Netanyahu, Israel, can claim victory in the sense that they've been able to weaken Iran, Hezbollah, and of course, we all know what's happened with Syria, right? So they can say, saying yesterday in his, if you like, victory speech, and least as if anybody can actually celebrate the killing, what the recent Lancet report calls 60,000 Palestinians, as if anybody can celebrate that as a victory. But in any event, in Biden's speech yesterday, one of the things he said was, and I'm paraphrasing here, our enemies are weaker, our friends are stronger, right? So for him, we've neutralized, we've disabled, we've weakened our enemies around that area. So he's effectively saying, well, the Middle East is a little bit safer now, or more stable with huge quotes and unquotes, because Iran is weaker, Hezbollah is weak, and Syria. And where does Syria come in? Syria, which is the corridor that Iran used to actually give.
Hello, you ready?
Ammunition created. So they're basically trying to be friends with the West right now. And then, of course, you've got Hamas. A lot of the Hamas members, their senior members have been killed. Israel killed their negotiator, the chief negotiator. Round about this time, by the way, when we were still waiting for that deal to be signed since May, Israel killed the negotiator. Ismail Haniyeh was killed. So all of that tells you that where Israel is concerned, where America, or at least Biden is concerned, the Middle East is a little bit more stable for them, or at least their enemies are weaker. Now, when you look at the deal, one of the things that's apparent, and this is where the big risk lies, is that Israel sees this deal as an hostage exchange, their way to get their hostages home, right? Hamas sees this as the end of the war. So when two people have signed a deal and they're coming at it from different viewpoints, there's bound to be a clash, right? And again, who is doing the monitoring? You know, one of the things when people say that this doesn't concern Africa, it doesn't concern Africa. It concerns us so much so. Yesterday, I was watching an interview, and I can't remember where. And it was with, I've forgotten his name now, one of the UN chiefs. And he mentioned Kofi Annan, the great late Kofi Annan, African, who was the UN Secretary General. And he said one of the things Kofi Annan would do when they do deals like this was to put the monitoring ahead of everything else. It's like, okay, let's imagine things go wrong. Who is going to monitor it? How are we going to know it's going wrong? And how are we going to put it together before we even? So you put all those mechanisms in place.
Right.
That mechanism is clearly not in place because that question was asked of the Qatari PM yesterday during the press conference, and he kind of gave a nondescript, response. So peace in the Middle East, that's a whole long way to go. But you can have peace. You can have peace in the Middle East as long as you give the Palestinians full emancipation and freedom and self-rule. That is all they've wanted. That is what everybody deserves. When somebody, I can't remember who mentioned South Africa, that is what happened with South Africa. And Nigeria was at the forefront of that.
That's right.
You can't get peace from guns. You get peace from diplomacy. So whilst it has not worked, I think it was Titi Lokwe, it may not have worked. That's because there wasn't the intention for it to work. It doesn't mean it can't work. It can.
All right. We incidentally, you've answered about 3 other questions that I have here, because I was going to talk to you about the possible mechanisms in place to monitor violations, to monitor that this ceasefire is not violated by any party. We have hardliners on both sides, so even external influence could be responsible for it. But we really have to go now. What's coming up on Borderlines tomorrow?
We're going to be reporting. What's tomorrow? Is tomorrow Friday? Yes, it is. Well, we're going to be broadcasting. We're going to be broadcasting live from Istanbul. So really, everybody must tune in. We are going to be discussing this ceasefire with our guest, FFK in Nigeria. I will be in Istanbul. Incidentally, for a conference on Palestine and the African narrative. But we will be broadcasting live from there. We have one academic whose name I think is Alcott, I can't remember his first name, who will be joining us, and also another Turkish expert on the Middle East who is also going to be joining us. We will be broadcasting live for the first time. I think it's the first time on Borderlines that we're going to be broadcasting live from out of Nigeria. So I'm really excited about that. And as you know, you, me, the rest of the team, Tunde, Mercy, Kenneth, Zainab, who am I forgetting? Everybody is working hard to make sure that everything goes smoothly. So I'm really, really excited for us to be it's a milestone. Right. And I'm very, my name means hope. My name is Hope. Yeah, it means optimism. That's what it stands for. So I'm optimistic. I'm really excited.
Thank you so much for joining me on the Daily Digest today. It's a pleasure, right? Thank you.
The pleasure's all mine. Have a great show.
Lagos, that's our show. Good morning to you.
More conversation, more talk, more right after this. Let me ask you a question.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.